What's happening, guys? It is Logan Robinson from BucsGameday.com. I'm here with our editor-in-chief at BG, River Wells. How we doing?
Doing good. That's me.
We just wrapped up our final day of mandatory minicamp. I'm making it sound like we just got done with our
With
practice.
how hot it is, it might as well have been.
But I will say it is a beautiful breeze here in Tampa. The Bucs just finished off their last day. We've got a handful of things to go through. It was only an hour long, so a majority of that, though, I would say 35 minutes of it was walkthroughs. You had some stretching, and then you had some drills being made.
It was a field day.
It was
It was a
practically a
field
field day.
Yeah.
And also, too, some jersey swapping. We had all
Yeah,
on the
that's
defensive
true. They
side
tried to
of
get
the
one
ball.
over on us. The linebackers and some of the defensive linemen, they all switched their jerseys. So we had Anthony Walker and Levante David's 54, and we had Servassier Dennis and Deion Jones' 45, and it was fun. They're having fun out there.
It was. And we actually heard from Mike Evans, after practice. Bucky Irving also spoke with us. Anthony Walker. We also had Todd Bowles as well, but nothing too crazy there. Just had a few questions that he answered. But let's start off with who participated, who did not. Once again, Benjamin Morrison did not participate. He was out there in shorts. He wasn't in any kind of sleeve or brace. There's nothing there going on, but he did not participate. And also, too, Baker Mayfield did not. He was out there. He had the playbook. He had a bucket hat on, which I'm sure you loved because you are
I love the bucket hats.
A fellow bucket hat man.
Yeah, you had a lot of veterans not participating today. You know, guys like Hassan Reddick, Vita Vea weren't out there. Levante David wasn't out there. But Mike Evans did. He was one of the veterans that did, in fact, put the helmet on and go run some routes.
Yeah, he was. And he'd been participating for the most part throughout this mandatory minicamp. I'd say more specifically in day one.
Yeah.
But still, nonetheless, he's out there doing some drills, working with some guys. But yeah, Baker just kind of sitting there with the play sheet, coming out, hanging out. We also did view Tristan Wirfs. He was out here for practically the entirety of the day, but working off to the side with a trainer. As we know, he does have that big brace on his leg right now. That is something we are going to monitor as we go into training camp. It's going to be one of those things that we have noted down to watch, along with, of course, Benjamin Morrison. The good thing about it, though, from at least Todd Bowles' stand, he is saying that none of this is severe. It feels like a lot of these guys are going to be fully healthy and ready to go
for sure.
Late July.
Yeah, and there's a long time between now and training camp, a month, over a month. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be fun, and a lot of these guys that are working on their health, they can get back and healthy and ready in time to get out there for training camp.
Bucky Irving had a good play today. They were doing red zone 11-on-11 team drills, and Bucky, so with all the jersey numbers being changed on the defensive side of the ball, it was very hard to kind of figure out who was out there that Bucky put a move on, but we ended up figuring it out, and Bucky Irving put Servassier Dennis on skates for a touchdown.
Hate to see it.
No pads on.
No pads on. Shorts and shirts, and the wrong shirt, actually. It's Deion Jones' 45. So, but yeah, Bucky Irvin looking good as much as you can without pads, running between the tackles, but you can really kind of see his elusiveness in the open field, and that's something that you can still take a look at whenever they're not necessarily in full gear. So it was a good play from him. We talked to him afterward. He sounded like he was excited for what's going to happen this offseason and really getting to work, and he likes Josh Grizzard, and he likes the running back room, and sounds good to me.
Yeah. I say now looking at Rachaad White, the way that he slimmed down, I'm interested to see what kind of weight White plays at this upcoming season. But is there some as we know, Bucky is a slippery guy, and that's hard to do anything if you're a linebacker or a DB or anybody on the defensive side, because he is a slippery dude with no pads. But you know, Rachaad White slimmed down. Sean Tucker, they feel very strongly about him as well. The entire running back room. So that's going to be a fun one to watch as we go into training camp. I thought Kyle Trask the first 2 days of camp was showing beautiful throws, and I thought he looked really sharp. Today, not so well. Wasn't his prettiest day, I would say, but you got to remember too, it's day 3. You're only going through team here for maybe 20 minutes or so, and you don't have some of your ones in there as well. But
right.
I thought Trask, at least overall, looked good in this mini camp.
Yeah, I did, and they like Kyle Trask a lot. They assigned him to a 1-year deal, which I didn't expect, certainly, but they want him to be a veteran backup quarterback, able to take over if needed and run the offense well. And so far, I think that's what he has been doing. Like you mentioned, a little bit of a lack of chemistry sometimes without some of the guys in there. But he had a good day, and he'll be looking to hone his craft until training camp, where he'll also get some good reps in.
Yep. Marquise Watts got himself a sack today in team drills. This is kind of be the theme here, and it always is. I feel like, at least from my side, when you don't have pads on any of your defensive linemen, it's so hard. I mean, Gedeke told us this yesterday. It's unfair, and he hates it, and it pisses him off that he does not have pads to work with to actually block these guys in formal football fashion. And on top of that,
you can't really tackle the quarterback, right?
No.
So when we say it's a sack, it's an understood sack.
Yeah. But he got back there, and I thought Watts had a nice play. And then to finish it off, Tyreek Funderbook almost had an interception today. I don't think there was any interceptions at all today.
There was only 20 minutes of team periods.
Yeah,
but outside of that, he almost had it. He dropped it when it hit the ground.
And the whole defensive sideline was hype until the drop happened, and they were not happy
Todd
about
Bowles
that.
has had an emphasis on getting those and keeping them and securing the ball and getting more interceptions. So that's going to be a big point of emphasis going forward into training camp, but he's going to want to see those guys come down with those picks.
We heard from Mike Evans after practice. What was some of your biggest takeaways there? I asked him, specifically, what are you doing this offseason? Because we've seen him more, I would say, more public in his training. Yeah. It's not really specifically him taking the videos. It's him sharing the Instagram stories from his trainer. But he's always been putting in this work. He said, I'm doing the same SHIT as I've been doing every year, enjoying time with the family, putting work in, playing video games, going on trips. That's just Mike for you. But any other takeaways you had?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. We asked him about Emeka Egbuka, Tampa Bay's first-round draft pick wide receiver out of Ohio State, and he said he looks like a running back and he catches like Chris Godwin. So I think it's some pretty good praise from Mike Evans there about Tampa Bay's first-round pick.
Yeah, no, I thought that was nice. I think this whole team has a lot of hope and a lot of optimism for what Egbuka can bring to this offense. A lot of us were shocked at the beginning of that NFL draft when Jason Light made that move and grabbed a wide receiver. But, it's showing right here. It's a guy that is going to show you hopefully consistency. He did this in the college, but production and a whole lot of other things, the way that he represents himself. He's came in very polished and has shown consistency with his hands as well, which has been a really nice plus. And then going over, we talked with also to Anthony Walker, the new addition there in the linebacker room. What do you think about that interview? And he thought very highly of Saracen Dennis, as a lot of people do, but it seems like, he feels like Dennis has got that young talent and is still coming into form, and he feels like this is a big season ahead for him.
He seems pretty motivated. He seems pretty excited. He mentioned, I guess, Levante David is his roommate right now.
Yeah, I guess he's staying at Levante David's house.
Yeah, and he mentioned, I could see myself ending my career here in Tampa Bay with guys like Levante David there and the culture that has permeated here since that Super Bowl win in 2020. They have a really good relationship. They're both from South Florida. So, and he says, it's great to learn from the guys, learn from the new guys like Saracen Dennis, learn from Deion Jones, another veteran in this room that's a similar, age, played a lot of games, just like Levante, just like Anthony Walker Jr. So I thought it was a pretty interesting interview, and how he approaches this season, knowing that wherever he's going to be, however much he plays, what position he's going to really settle into in the linebacker room, he's ready to contribute and help the Bucs win. So I think that's about what the Bucs could have asked for when they signed him. So we'll see if he can get that done.
I brought up to Anthony Walker the running back room, specifically going to Bucky Irving and Rachaad White, and he said nowadays you got to have two elite.
He said
running backs
word
in the NFL.
Elite, folks. He did.
Yes, he threw in the elite, put it in the headline at BucsGameday.com. But that's going to do it for this roundup here for day 3 of mandatory minicamp for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a whole wrap. How to feel, River. We're done. Now we get prepped for training camp, which I feel like this team feels very confident going into. Hungry, starving, I should say.
As Rachaad White would say, yes, they do. They have a lot to work on. They've got a similar offense under Josh Guzar, but they're going to tweak some things here and there. And then Todd Bowles had his eureka moment, he said, at West Palm Beach, the owners' meeting. But now we get to see that in action, maybe see kind of the new things he's cooking up in this defense, maybe a little more aggressive, maybe playing a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage, and maybe this offense, like a few guys have said this week, get a little bit more vertical, get some more deep shots out there. Like Evan said, I hope so. So I think Bucs fans hope so too.
It's going to be a fun training camp. We're going to have all kinds of coverage, including these type of videos after each day of practice. I personally am waiting until the pads come on. I'm right there with Todd Bowles and the rest of this defensive side of the ball. I love it when the pads come on, and so does Luke Gedeke. And I'm sure we're going to have some fun battles between him, Hassan Reddick. We got a ton of defensive back competitions. This wide receiver room is loaded. Who is going to be wide receiver 3, 4, and who's going to be making this team? But that's going to do it for this episode. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us for Mandatory Minicamp. If you're still here,
much, guys.
Smack that like button down below. We deeply appreciate it. Also, to drop down a comment. We're trying to respond to as many as possible. The guys will be going live on Friday with the Greg Allman
of Fox Sports and Buccaneers beat writer fan.
Yes, legend on the beat.
He will be on our show. We talked to him about Mandatory Minicamp, wrapping it up, what we learned. So he's a great guy, and he's so knowledgeable about the team and the Bucs. So make sure you come on and check that out.
Absolutely. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's week, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Fire the cannons.